Yo, welcome to another edition of Vegas Bad Boys of Podcasting. I'm your host, DJ Impact. We got, I see Matt Michaels here. I see Sin City Steve. I see Simon Street. And our guest for the show, Travis, back with us. Good to see all of y'all here.
I got something real quick to say. I know I've been told earlier you're on a time crunch. I feel like all my answers have to be shortened today. Kind of like I'm being inducted into the Hall of Fame. What a segue. Go ahead.
No, you better make it quick or we're going to send Kane or somebody out to come get your ass at your house.
All right, y'all. So this is 3 count. Hey, if you're watching this live, make sure you put your comments in the box, which I see comments already coming in. Facebook Live, Twitch, and YouTube Live. Make sure you throw all your comments there. We'll try to get put them on as we see fit. If you're listening to the downloaded podcast on Tuesday, thank you. We definitely appreciate it. All right, so let's get to our 3 count. It's time. Vegas Bad Boys of Podcasting present 1, 2, 3. Count talk.
Count talk, baby.
Here's our first count. 1. AEW finalizing deal for the 3rd weekly show. All right. This is from Inside the Ropes or itrwrestling.com. It just reads that AEW has seen continuous growth since opening in 2019. Even if the company doesn't match WWE numbers or records, it's still doing well enough to continue adding more and more content to its weekly lineup. Now, there were previous indications that AEW would add another televised program to accompany Dynamite and Rampage. Now, according to Matt Mins, Andrew Zarian, and reported by the Wrestling Observer, Warner Brothers Discovery appeared to be on board with this 3rd show as well. Now, per Zarian's report, AEW's parent company is looking to close the deal this 3rd televised show. Now, details remain scarce, but Zarian suggested that the official announcement would be made next month. Now, if the show is greenlight, the report suggests that it will be a 1 hour long and air sometime on Saturdays. The dominant rumor at this time implies that it would be at 6 p.m. on Saturdays, which had been the time slot of WCW Saturday Night decades ago. Now, this should this deal go through, then this Saturday show will be the 4th weekly televised program by All Elite Wrestling after Dynamite, Rampage, and All Access. It also says that AEW weekly lineup rumored to expand to 3 televised shows, Dark and Dark Elevations as the wrestling shows, Unrestricted as the interview show, and Being the Elite as an affiliated vlog style show spearheaded by the Young Bucks. The company also has a quarterly special called Battle of the Belts that airs after certain episodes on Rampage, and it has 4 or 5 pay-per-view events per year. And I guess the next big show for AEW in 2023 is Battle for the Belt 6, which will be Friday, April 8th in 2023. All right. So let me go over to you, Sin City Steve. What is your take on this, man, hearing that they're finalizing a 3rd weekly show?
Well, I honestly, this just pops the bubble of all those WWE maxis that love to just, talk shit and just simply say that, oh, AEW's dying. AEW's going to be canceled. Well, okay. You see that Warner Brothers Discovery is actually negotiating them to get another time slot. So clearly, even in spite of all the mud throwing that loves to be had, yeah, they're doing well enough for the network to actually give them more programming. So I think that, yeah, this can at least silence some of those doubters. And now we can get back to actually watching wrestling that we like and then not watching the wrestling that we don't like. Pretty simple shit.
Okay. All right. Hold on. Before I go over to you, Mr. Travis, I got to go over to Simon Street. What's your take hearing finalizing a possible 3rd show?
Good for them. Real good for them. At the end of the day, if you got it, do it, right? But at the same thing, I think about the question is what are you going to feel with that? I know the article kind of said that, but legitimately, what are you going to feel? Because when you did add your, for all intents and purposes, your 2nd show, that seemed to be a bit of a challenge. So my question is, okay, what have you learned from past challenges, and can you meet what's going to happen. Do you see what I'm saying? It sounds good and all. And then also, too, how long is that show going to be on Saturdays? That's my only questions I have.
Okay. All right. Hold on. One more. Matt Michaels, let me go to you right quick.
Sure.
A Saturday night wrestling show, man. What do you think? We got room for this?
Well, if it's as exciting as Rampage, yeah, we should. Jesus Christ. Nyla Rose versus fucking, who was it? Rio, or I don't know what the hell. Like, there was no build. That's your main event for a show. No build. Jesus Christ. So I guess if you're just going to have another show with random fucking matches that make no sense, sure, have it. But you already have like 9 internet shows, so I don't know.
Before I go to you, Travis, one of our weekly watcher says a third weekly show benefits the talent who never gets any TV time or has their matches cut from airing on Dark and Dark Elevation. Give the non-top tier talent a chance. That was John's comments. All right, what's your takes, Travis? What you think, man?
I'm just glad AEW is presenting another show that NXT can beat each week. I mean, that's where we're going. I mean, come on now. You're starting a show on the Turner Network in April. Has he not read the past of Braves baseball and baseball season? You talk about being preempted. Let's talk about Rampage for the next 2 weeks being preempted to 11 p.m. at night. Now he's going to start a show on the weekend. Hey, good for NXT. That's what I can say. Another show, So,
okay.
I mean, where are we taping this? What's his format? There's no. I mean, are we at Universal Studios taping this during ROH and Dark and all that, or when's it taped? It's a 1 hour show.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously it's a done deal. This wouldn't have been leaked out if it wasn't a done deal. This is no rumors of a show. The show's going to happen. It starts in April. Or starts not in April, I believe May, but it's a done deal. So, but when is it taped? And what talent are we giving more airtime to? Who's really like what are we looking at? Are we looking at ratings, or does Turner Networks not care? Or, do they not care about ratings? They just want more content from Tony, or are ratings going to matter? Which, like I said, during baseball season on Turner Network is not the smartest thing. So who are we giving TV time to? QT Marshall? Was he going to go read his Twitter feed for 30 minutes out there or something? I mean, what is it?
Moxley needs a place to bleed on Saturday nights.
It's a lot of blood, man.
All right.
But that's kind of my question too. Sorry, before we move on, I'm just wondering too, like, what is the format going to be? I think that's the biggest of big questions, right? Yeah, you got people you can fill it with, right? But my question is, Rampage is a sore thumb of AEW. Even Sin City Steve can admit, because he's admitted in many weeks, it's been a sore subject. And that's that challenge I was talking about. Like, how are you going to overcome that shit? Because, okay, you fucked up once. Okay, right? But if you're doing it again, I mean, are you just trying to shoot yourself in the foot while you spreading over talent and shit?
Of course he is. It was Saturday nights. What's on Saturdays? UFC pay-per-views and WWE pay-per-views. Good luck getting views on those weekends. And that's 2 weekends a month. So he has the other 2 weekends to try to figure out something. And I'm sure one of those other 2 weekends, he'll be preempted by baseball. So it's like, what are we doing? Like,
well,
I book of the year. He got this. Book of the year.
I would have been content saying, hey, Rampage, go head to head, or go with the last hour of SmackDown, 9 to 11. At least do something different. But
I guess, when you look, so Sin City, one of the things though you were saying is that for a lot of doubters, for starters, just to have another show is kind of looking like that it looks like things are moving up or being successful for them. And I got to tell you, in the article, it did say Warner Brothers Discovery appeared to be on board. At one point, was we saying that they didn't even think that they were going to even handle, carry any of their stuff
Right.
With the
Exactly.
transition.
And I think that, and as Travis had mentioned, this is already a done deal. And the fact is that, yeah, this definitely just kind of throws all of those other reports of AEW and their TV rights deal being in jeopardy. It kind of at least puts those on hold. Granted, they're probably not going to get the money that they want to get when the negotiations come across next year, I believe it is. But realistically, they've got the network's buy-in, and that's realistically the biggest obstacle that they have right now.
Yeah, and then one more quick comment. John says typically baseball games on Saturdays are early afternoon games, and Brave games is at 10 a.m. for those of us in the West Coast. So maybe there is some flexibility there on there. We don't know.
TBS doesn't even show Braves games, to be honest, anymore. They switched that over to like their own kind of Dodgers type network, to where you can see the Braves games on the baseball package, but they barely show them on TBS anymore. I don't think that's an obstacle. But that at some point one of those Rampage or new shows is going to get like Rampage and end up airing at some weird ass time because they got to bump it for something. So
yeah,
they'll bump it each month for that WWE pay-per-view.
I mean, you ain't lying though. I mean, that's the reality. So they're gonna have to figure out some shit, because Saturday nights is not a good spot.
All right, y'all.
Real quick. I mean, historically, it was a great spot for WCW. I mean, who wasn't a fan of WCW Saturday night? We all know the time. 6:05 Eastern, 3:05 Pacific. I even was as a kid, and so I try to make my life around those time zones or the time slot. So it's a very historic time. I understand why Tony probably requested Saturdays at 6:05. But I think at this point we need to stop being a mark or fan of the past. Especially for a company that got killed, and try to figure out what's working presently. And adding another hour is not working presently. Let's just be honest. Let's focus on the 2 hours on Wednesday and the 1 hour on Friday first before we start thinking about any other hours.
Okay.
Get above 900,000.
All right, let's go over to number 2. And this one is Ric Flair is full of shit and always has been. A WWE veteran slams Nature Boy. This is from sportskeeda.com. And it reads that Ric Flair's recent comments about his 2022 in-ring return were not well received by legendary wrestler, booker, and manager Dutch Mantell. The Ric Flair's last match event was nominated several times in the Wrestling Observer Annual Awards for the worst wrestling match of 2022. And last week, Flair responded to the award announcement by revealing that he made $300,000 for the show. He also told his critics to go fuck themselves. Now, Mantell, FKA Zeb Coulter, and WWE spoke on the Story Time with Dutch Mantell about Flair's performance in his comeback match. Quote, "I've had people write me, and seriously, people thought he was going to die. I think he passed out a time or two in there. He doesn't even remember it. Ric Flair is now trying to leave a legacy, and he should have left it alone or change a lot of things in that match because his legacy now is tarnished. I don't know. Ric Flair is full of shit and always has been." Now, this is not the first time that Mantell has been critical of Flair. The wrestling personality previously accused the 16-time world champion of lying about being in Puerto Rico when Bruiser Brody was killed in 1988. All right. Matt Michaels, this was yours, man. What was your take on this when you saw it?
I think it's just lovely. I think that, what's interesting here is that a couple things. First, why are you even fucking doing a worst of the year type thing for that, right? Like that's like it's not an actual, it's not a mainstream match, right? It's something that was put together as a publicity stunt and a payday. We all pretty much know that. Mm-hmm. We also know that fans were not expecting a great match because they know that he's almost, 80 fucking years old. So, and Ric Flair has already said that he's not actually retired.
Mhm.
So this is all this was, is a money-making thing. So for Flair to make it try to sound like he was in shape and a great wrestler and this was a great match, he didn't. He just said, I made a fucking $300,000 for it. Wouldn't you do it? And I think that's hysterical that Mantel is saying that he's full of shit, because he wasn't full of shit. He's telling the truth.
Mhm.
And it's like, I don't know. It's fun to see these old guys start going at each other for no fucking apparent reason. Fans are stupid enough to pay money to see Ric Flair, wrestle. Listen, if Flair wrestled a bear, he'd still make $300,000, which would be a fucking great match, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what you just. It looked like you just said something, Simon Street, but your mute was on. Let me just go to
my bad. I said he probably would survive that type of match as well. He didn't survive every other fucking thing.
Well, while you have the mic there, Simon, what's your take when you read, hearing what Dutch Mantel had to say about Ric Flair? You agree with him on here, or is it's just ridiculous?
I'm along the lines of Michael's. It's delightfully entertaining. So much, in fact, that I do enjoy seeing older, egotistical, long-winded, long in the tooth, haven't gotten off their soapbox, go at each other. It's freaking amazing. In fact, to be honest with you, if AEW plays their cards right, that should be the Saturday night show, because I will fucking tune into that shit more than I would Rampage, because it is pretty awesome, because I always imagine Zeb Galter should have known. I'm sorry, Dutchman, how you want to call it. He should have known how the business is. It's not like you just some writer from a columnist and you just figuring out, pretending what the business is. You've been in the business. You already know how it is. You know that's exactly what it was. You know exactly why Ric Flair did what he did. He had that last match because he knew it could and people would pay the ticket. It don't matter if it was $50, $100 ringside, if it looked like an indie show. Shit, be real with you. If I had $100, I'd have went to that shit, because it's motherfucking Ric Flair. Woo! Who wouldn't? So at the end of the day, it's just business 101. Don't get mad because ain't nobody want to see your ass in a wheelchair rolling down here talking about where's Alberto Del Rio the last time I was relevant on TV.
Oh,
bruh,
boy.
cool your jets, calm the fuck down, drink you some Gatorade. Sound parched and old.
City Steve, one thing it did say is that that Dutch believed that fans had every right to vote the Nature's Boys match as one of the worst in 2022. He was quoted as saying the fans should be saying it to him, screw you, Flair. The tickets weren't cheap for that match either. I don't know what the ringside was. I think it was like $50 or $100. That's a pretty expensive ticket for being a big independent show, even though Ric Flair was on it. I would never, ever, ever say F you to the fans who knocked me for a legitimate reason. Okay. Sin City, what's your take on this, man?
I mean, honestly, at this point, I just view this as Dutch just trying to get his name out there and trying to stay relevant. I mean, realistically, I don't have a bit of a problem with anybody voting in a best match or worst match poll. I don't have any issue with fans chanting things in matches. I mean, that it is what it is. The crowd is going to do what the crowd is going to do. But at the end of the day, this definitely comes across as being a desperate attempt to continue to stay relevant. There's no real reason, honestly, to go about this whole thing the way that Dutch is, enticing the fans to chant "screw you, Flair." Like, come on, like, I don't know. It is what it is. If they were going to do that organically, then I get it. But yeah, it definitely sounds like as if there's a lot more at play.
Yeah. Travis, one of the things that also said in the article is that that Flair, it says here, his legacy is now tarnished. Do you believe his legacy is now tarnished for just because he participated in that particular match?
Which legacy are we talking about? In ring, sexually, alcohol wise? I think he's fine all three. I'd love to have his lifestyle. I think he survived with 2 heart attacks. I've survived 1, so I'm
Plane
kind of on the
crash.
same path. And I don't need a plane crash right now, but if I can survive it, I'll take it as long as it's on Delta. I mean, never mind. Anyways, 2 quick things. Dutch said Ric Flair passed out and came back. Was he talking about the match or at the bar afterwards? I got confused on that aspect. And second thing, 2023, there's nothing better in 2023 than 2 old men using their phones to log into Twitter and argue with each other. I love it. I'm here for it. I need it more. Can we put it on a Turn Network Saturdays at 6:05 p.m.? I'll watch it.
AEW got enough old mans on the roster on payroll.
Oh man.
Oh God, we could get Sting versus Flair on Twitter.
Oh God, please.
That almost
no.
sounds like that's contagious. Sting versus Flair. Sting on Flair. Ooh.
All right, man. Let me get over into our 3 count. 3. All right. Konnan to induct Rey Mysterio into WWE Hall of Fame. All right. So this one here reads, and this is, of course, from Figure 4 Online. It says that Konnan will be taking part of this year's WWE Hall of Fame ceremony. Dave Meltzer confirmed that he will induct his friend Rey Mysterio into WWE Hall of Fame at this month's ceremony over WrestleMania week in Los Angeles. Meltzer notes that WWE approved Mysterio's request to have Konnan induct him, and quote, saying Konnan will be inducting Rey into the Hall of Fame. Meltzer wrote, Rey asked for him, and the company approved, as noted last night. To me, it was the only choice. And that's pretty much the end of that. Of course, we know Rey Mysterio is the first inductee into the 2023 Hall of Fame. All right. Simon Street, this was yours, man. What's your take on this?
Well, my whole take was pretty much, it's interesting how it's Konnan. I remember way back in WCW days when, for those who didn't watch wrestling back then, that's when you first heard of Rey Mysterio, Konnan, and a whole bunch of other great legends have come through there. Eddie as well. With that being said, a couple of things that do stand out is, number one, in real life, Konnan is the godfather of Dominic Mysterio. So that got me pondering, and I know I'm not the smartest person in the whole world, of this being totally half reality, half work, just out of sheer coincidence. But even if it's not, and that's not the way it goes, I think Konnan is a person that's known Rey for probably 12, I'm sorry, since he was 11 years old, 12 years old, 13, whenever he was a kid. He's known him for a very, very, very long time. And I remember watching him on WCW with Rey Mysterio when he was first making his career. So it's somebody who definitely knows him. It should make for a very interesting speech. I just thought it was good. Just in general, I'd love to see Konnan. I know we had talked about him probably a couple of months ago with, as you know, some health concerns that he's had. And so it's just good to see him overall. But I want to see you guys take it. Am I the only one that's trying to reach for this to be something? Or is it just, hey, happy to see Konnan?
Let me go over to you, Sin City. In terms of, would you say this was a great choice? Now this is Rey's choice, of course, but could you have thought of someone else that maybe you would have thought maybe would have been better to induct Rey?
No, man. Actually, I think that this is spot on, and this made the most sense out of any of the recent inductors and inductees that we've had.
Mm-hmm.
Especially knowing the past history between these two men. So yeah, it's I have nothing negative to say about it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me go over to
I just hope that they do some visual stuff, cinematography stuff with with Dominic at the Hall of Fame induction ceremony.
Yeah.
That's all I'm hoping for. Obviously there doesn't need to be like full on angle, like blow up, like, you know,
Right.
actual physical altercation. But yeah, just getting some really cool camera shots out of this whole thing could make this even more fun.
Now, Michaels, were you shocked that WWE approved for Konnan to induct him at all?
No.
Okay.
I mean, this is. I think American Bam Bam said it good. Not in the slightest. How can anyone choose better than Ray? Not sure why this is a topic. It's not the idea of Ray getting inducted. It's the idea of apparently Konnan inducting him, which, I mean, fucking Sylvester Stallone inducted Hogan. So,
right.
Yeah, like, that. You know, so it doesn't fucking matter. And number two, it's the Hall of Fame. They don't run angles necessarily during the Hall of Fame. They might make a joke, you know, commenting, you know, Ray might say something to Dom or whatever, but it's the Hall of Fame is totally separate from the actual thing. So I'm just shocked that we're talking about this and we didn't talk about Ray when he got inducted last year into the Cauliflower Alley Hall of Fame.
All right, Travis, last one, man. What's your take out of this whole thing?
I mean, if it's, you know, I mean, Konnan brought Ray over to the U.S., introduced him to Paul Heyman, ECW, and to WCW, and then we all know what happened there. I actually believe I saw Konnan and Rey Mysterio in a tag team match on TBS on Saturday night at 6:05, because I believe that's the theme of tonight's show, Saturday at 6:05. But you know, I mean, Konnan fits. Is it surprising? Yeah, because Konnan really had a very, very short run in WWF. As Max Moon, most people don't remember that. Then he was very vocal and negative towards WWEF. But as we've seen in the past few months with Nakamura and Anderson over in Japan, and, you know, Bailey being able to support Sasha at her shows, Hunter's more open to whatever can happen. Obviously, get Konnan in, get a lot of footage for future network stuff. I'm sure there's going to be a table for three with Konnan, Ray, and, you know, whoever else. But, you know, angles to a slight extent have been ran at Hall of Fame, not a major extent. But, you know, what do we do? Are we going to have Dom show up with Rhea, or actually is Rhea actually going to show up with Buddy? You know, are we actually going to have Vicky Guerrero, who's close to Rey Mysterio, attend the Hall of Fame event that night? You know, well, so there could be some. Yeah,
she's now
there could
free.
be some. Not till this summer. So as a Hall of Fame in 3 weeks, she's still under AEW contract. So you know, is Rhea bringing Buddy? Is Vicky going to be there to support Ray? You know, why am I going to be at ROH instead of SmackDown? There's a lot of questions going on that night, but you know,
wait, we know the answer to that, and it's white and powdery.
No, I said I can only do one heart attack, but no, I think it's going to be very interesting as far as the whole thing. I believe Ray is the main event. They're going to keep the Hall of Fame shorter this year, and so on. So I think it's good. Konnan's going to have an excellent speech, because whether you like him or you don't, Konnan is an excellent talker.
Yes,
you know, he's articulate, and you know he's a very good talker, and he's going to be able to suck people in and tell the story of Rey Mysterio, because there is a story about this character. You know, this Oscar Gutierrez plays this character, and it's honestly, I think Rey's is probably the biggest Latin star in the history of at least American pro wrestling. You know, you know, people may say Santo overall, but I think in American pro wrestling, Ray is the biggest star ever. And we have seen time and time and time again, WWE try to get the next Rey Mysterio, and it never really pans out. You know, from Del Rio to most recent Escobar, Sin Cara, you know, so there's Dragon Lee who's starting up now. So, you know, it's tough to fill those shoes. I think, you know, I know we got short on time, but people are always like, could there ever be another Hogan? And then Rock, Austin, and Cena came along, and people were like, very close to Hogan, if not bigger, but we're still trying to find, or they're still trying to find the next Rey Mysterio, and that's something that's very, very hard to do. His look, his athletic ability, the bilingual aspect, the connection with not only the Latin audience but just the audience altogether. And he has the whole package. So it should be cool. It should be cool.
Well, and something else that's very interesting too is technically, can't we say that Konnan really is a WWE Hall of Famer because he was one of the big parts of the NWO?
Yeah, when it split to red, he's part of the Wolfpack.
He was part of the black and white too, there, buddy.
Well, he was, but he really made. Well, we can get in debate about that another show.
And I real quick, I really have to think. I gotta check. I don't know offhand, but I think Ray was on that. I want to say it was the world. Was it the World Wrestling Peace Festival that was in LA that Bischoff put together? I think Ray. I think Konnan brought Ray on that show, and that's how Bischoff met Ray that night. And the rest was history from that point. I could be wrong, but I believe there was something to that, which ironically was right here in LA. So Ray going in LA with Konnan, who brought him onto this show back in, I believe, 93, 92 something. So it's full circle, and it's closest to San Diego that he's going to get. So why not?
True that.
All righty.
Everyone from San Diego can come up. Like DJ Impact, who's not coming at all.
That's only because it's 2 nights, right? Impact.
I'll be at one night. I can't afford 2 nights.
You doing better than me. I ain't gonna be at either night. I'm gonna be at my house both nights this year.
It's not even the fact I can't afford 2 nights. It's just the fact that it's just 2 nights. I gotta do this. I gotta drive to the stadium twice. I gotta pay for parking twice. I gotta pay for food twice. I gotta sit for 7 hours twice. No, that's too much.
Now we understand why your kids are so messed up.
Now it's too much. It's amazing how out of every WrestleMania he's been to, almost all of them since 2000, the one that break his streak is the one in the city he grew up in.
You know what it is though? Impact. You need.
He should know where to park. No, he should know. He should know where to park. He should know how to get to the stadium.
Travis,
from Dallas, from Dallas to Atlanta to New Orleans to New York. Come on, you remember that New York one? That was bad. 2 Orlandos. I mean, and it's LA. LA is the one that breaks his streak. This is ridiculous.
I can secretly park in a cemetery across the street. I'm not paying for any more parking.
Next, he's going to show up with a mustache like Vince.
No. His booty hurt. That's what it is. You need to fit in a massage in between night 1 and 2 and just get your butt massaged or something like that. I'm just telling you, man.
He's from LA. He knows where those massage parlors are. They're right there on Century, 2 blocks down the road.
Oh, God. You better go get it fit in, man. No, I'm just playing. I ain't about to get you messed up like that, bro.
Lisa's calling me right now.
Uh-oh. She go.
All right, yeah, man. Good stuff. All right, y'all. That is our 3 count. Normally at this point, we just go ahead and give our final thoughts for the week. Mine is, hey, we're getting hyped for Mania, so keep watching because I don't know. I mean, we might get to a point where, damn it, I gotta be at both shows, but I don't think that's gonna happen. But hey, I'm just saying, continue to watch. Good stuff is being put on TV right now, especially with that bloodline and so much other storylines going on right now. Hey, wrestling makes the world go around. Let me move over to you though. Sin City Steve, what you want to tell the folks?
Thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, doing all the stuff that you guys do. We genuinely appreciate each and every one of you. And very special shout out to all the brave men and women serving this country, whether you're doing it on lands, foreign or domestic. Thank you for doing what you do so that we can do what we love to do. And last but not least, repsports.com, reppsports.com. Go there for all your pre-workout, weight loss, and general energy needs. Again, that's repsports.com. Use promo code Vegas at checkout and save yourself 15%.
Simon Street, what you want to say?
Same sentiment. Thank you so much for everybody for tuning in. And hey guys, out there, it's always about how you play your cards. Don't be in a bad situation for too long because you might miss your opportunity. Nina Simone once said, you have to learn to get from the table when love is no longer served. Be safe out there.
All right. Matt Michaels.
This just in. Apparently, Rey Mysterio, once he gets inducted, that's it. His contract's up. And him and Konnan have been signed for TBS at 6:05 on the debut episode of the new AEW programming. So
there we go. Travis, any final thoughts or anything you want to promote?
I had one. I totally forgot after that line. But I don't know if I'll be back on by WrestleMania. So I want to put this on record right now. Almost over Lesnar.
Sadly, I
it.
agree.
He needs it 100%.
Sadly,
And
that was my bathroom break.
And after Mania, if it happens, I'll explain why. But that's my prediction. Almost over Lesnar.
what does Omos know about Vince that no one else does?
I mean, never mind. Different show. That's my next interview.
All right, y'all. Thanks for hanging out with us. Peace.